Defaulter was a big, rich-coloured bay. A wonderful physique made him unbeatable at weight for age in New Zealand and Australia as the Second World War approached. Yet for such a powerful horse, his reign as a champion was short, retired as a 4-year-old in 1940 because of unsoundness. Nevertheless, Defaulter will be remembered as an outstanding galloper and afterwards as the most successful colonial-bred sire of his era. By Defoe from expense, the yearling went through the sale yards at Trentham in 1937. His purchase was controversial and the inspiration for his name. There was a dispute over the price and the final bidder defaulted. It was offered to Harold Greenwood as the underbidder and he happily took the yearling for 170 guineas. Thus, Defaulter was bought, named and entered a proud racing family, as Harold was the son of George Greenwood, the owner of another Hall of Fame inductee, Gloaming. Defaulter was sent to Riccarton for training by Frank Roberts and more than compensated his owner in the first season of racing by winning £725. It certainly made up for his first race on Banks Peninsula in October of 1937 when he lost his rider a few yards after the start. Defaulter soon showed he was a class racehorse, winning 8 of 12 starts as a 2-year-old. 2 of those wins, the North Island Challenge Stakes at Trentham and the CJC Challenge Stakes at Riccarton, were at weight for age against older horses. Apart from a second at his first start as a 3-year-old, Defaulter proved to be invincible. He put together a sequence of 8 wins starting with the Dunedin Guineas. It was a win over adversity as Defaulter received a cut over the eye during a rail accident on the way to Dunedin. It didn't affect him as he bolted home to take the trophy. Next on the agenda were the Trentham and Harcourt Stakes. Travel wasn't an issue for Defaulter as he went home to collect the New Zealand Derby and the Canterbury Cup. Then it was off to the North Island again to collect their silverware, the Auckland Racing Club's Christmas Handicap and the Great Northern Derby. A fitting finale to that great run of form was a win in the Wellington Cup in 1939. At the time, run over 1.5 miles. Defaulter carried 8 stone 11 pounds. That was 11 pounds above weight for age and was the highest weight carried successfully by a 3-year-old in that event. By now, Defaulter's fame was so widespread that race fans didn't need to know the Greenwood's address. Every postie in Canterbury knew where the owner of Defaulter lived. Having beaten the best in New Zealand, Harold Greenwood set his sights on conquering Australia. An offer of 10,000 guineas was put on the table for the star colt, but Defaulter wasn't for sale at any price. First up in Sydney was a win in the AJC Chipping Norton Plate, although Defaulter and Harold Greenwood had to survive a protest to claim the honours. Defaulter's next win in the Autumn Plate over legendary Australian jockey Darby Munro on a lunga is one the Greenwood family remembers with greatest pride. 2 pictures sum up the courage and speed of Defaulter. In the first, Munro is seen smiling as he leads close to the line. In the next, Defaulter has flashed by to victory, creating the famous footnote for Munro, the smile that vanished. Regular jockey Jim Ellis rated it his best effort. That winning sequence ended at 10 when Defaulter was badly interfered with in the Sydney Cup and finished out of the money for the first time since his 2-year-old season. He bounced back on the final day of the carnival to win the AJC Plate over 2.25 miles, beating Mosaic, which had won the Sydney Cup. Defaulter returned to Sydney in the spring of 1939. He quickly continued his winning form, taking the Warwick Stakes and the Chelmsford Stakes. But Defaulter went lame after that race and was returned to New Zealand with a cloud over his future. He was patched up and went south for a crack at the James Hazlitt Gold Cup in February of 1940. Like a true champion, Defaulter rose to the occasion and won the Gold Cup at Wingatui with disdainful ease. Sadly, it was the last time Defaulter would ever race. Defaulter damaged his suspensory ligaments and Harold Greenwood made the decision to retire his champion. Defaulter won 22 races from 28 starts. He was leading stakes winner in 1938-39 with £4,515. At retirement, he had won £11,215. But that wasn't the end of Defaulter. He was sent to Inglewood Stud and had an immediate impact. Defaulter eventually produced 108 winners from 161 starters, a strike rate of nearly 68%, making him the most successful homebred sire of his time. Defaulter's racing career was brief and successful. A true measure of his class is the enduring fact that he was never beaten at weight for age.